everybody, it's Quicken and welcome back to 5 Pack Friday. So, how's everybody doing? It's actually like I am seeing the sun right now in Philadelphia. So, it's great. I feel like the video quality is always better when you can see the sun. And that makes me happy, I think. So, let's get into 5 Pack Friday. Been a pretty cool week on the channel, I think, and as the weather gets a little better, I'm hoping that you'll see more lookbooks and stuff from me. I do have a haul video coming up. Somebody asked me where it was, and I actually got a pair of pants hemmed for the first time. I think I get them tomorrow. It was a weird process. I was like, here are some pants. Do all laundromats do this? And he was like, well, we do. So that was cool. And that was my week. I've been under a lot of stress lately. I don't know how much I can really get into it as of right now, but I'm just hoping that this is my year and I take my own advice and stuff like that, but it's been hard. It's been a hard week, but I know a lot of that translates onto the channel, and I do see the comments that are like, is everything okay? And I try to be pretty transparent with you guys in that aspect. So let's see how that pans out, and let's see how all that kind of goes into place there. But Tattoo Talk Tuesday this week, if you missed it, was all about like dating, online dating while being like heavily tattooed or having tattoos, how that interferes with that, as well as like catcalling and a touch on little sexuality there on my part. And if you didn't check that out, it was worth watching, I feel, because a lot of that stuff I feel like is pretty relatable to us, and I'll touch on it a little bit more in this episode as well. But jumping into the first question, hey Quicken, just curious, as a vegan, what do you do with gifts people give you that aren't vegan, clothes, accessories, food, etc.? And what did you do with your non-vegan items when you transitioned? I'm making a transition and it's hard because I don't want to waste anything or insult anybody. Thanks in advance. So I was eager to answer this question. I did just get it recently, but you know, it was kind of hard with me when I transitioned because I was like do or die, like crazy vegan, like all at once. And I've talked about it before on this channel and on my like vegan story video, how I think a lot of people, when they dive into being vegan, they are a little bit of that like vegan police, like 0 to 60 vegan, like telling you they are vegan. But I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think there's a place for that in veganism, and I think as you get older or you are vegan longer, you understand the place of the like militant vegan, and you can look back and be like, gee, I was one of them. And that's kind of the case for me. When I became vegan, I went vegan with a couple of my friends, so I don't want to say we were like in competition of each other, but we definitely put the stakes up and the responsibility of ourselves up really, really high, which now I'm thinking like wasn't totally necessary to my transition and may have been more detrimental to the people around me. I mean, I'm still vegan and my best friend is still vegan too, so I think her and I did it well, but I do feel a lot of regret getting rid of all of my leather goods. Only because when I became vegan, you know, I wasn't like a really financially stable person, and I also feel regret getting rid of a lot of that stuff because it is wasteful. And I also feel like I got rid of a lot of mementos to myself, and it wasn't really necessary for me to hurt myself in that way. So I do feel bad about that. Like, I did get rid of like all my Doc Marten boots and things, like leather kind of goods that I got when I was punk, and I definitely feel bad that I just got rid of these boots that I had had for 7 or 8 years and bought with the intention of keeping forever. So getting rid of them because they were leather, I felt like was wasteful. But at the time, I like put them in the trash. I think my old roommate, my like first roommate, I hope she took them for herself. I believe she did. And then beyond that, in the beginning, I rejected a lot of that stuff. Now I'm way more chill about it. And if I receive like leather goods like as a gift or whatever, depending on how they can function in my life is how I decide if I'm going to keep them. It's helpful for me now because I am in a place where, like, if I receive makeup I can't use, I can bring it to work and one of the women at my salon can easily take it for me. I don't have an issue with, like, re-gifting, especially when people understand that... Now all the cat hair is in my nose. Especially when I'm in a position where people understand that, like, I'll be receiving things that I can't necessarily keep. So there are plenty of times where I'm like, here, I got this thing I can't have. Do you want it? People are like, sure. So I don't have a problem, like, re-gifting. And then, you know, if the person gave me the gift, I kind of just am conscious about it. Like, if it's from my grandparents, from a relative, I know it just comes from a place of, like, someone wanted to give me something nice. If someone closer to me, like, got me some meat or something, I might be like, that's kind of weird that you did. Hold on a second. With, like, vegan gifting, I think that it's hard. It kind of just depends on, like, what kind of person you are, too. Like, if you're abrasive, if you're, like, telling it how it is, I'm sure if somebody got you a gift you couldn't have, you're used to the dialogue where you're like, why would you buy me assorted cheeses? You know I'm vegan. You know I'm vegan. Why would you buy me all this cat food? I can't eat any of this cat food. I'll eat it. I'll eat a little cat food. I don't know, I feel pretty bad about the leather stuff I got rid of in the beginning because even now, like, I have a pair of leather shoes that I wear that my grandma gave me, and I think the things I got rid of before probably were mementos to me and held value. And my friend used to put it this way. He would say, like, it takes more energy to create, you know, the vegan leather, the plastic. He says it takes more energy to create this new plastic for this new vegan leather jacket that you want so badly. But it's less wasteful to go to the thrift store and repurpose something for yourself, even if it is made with these materials. And I kind of use my discretion with all of that because, you know, that kind of thinking can go both ways. But it's something I try to be mindful of, so that's kind of like my little mantra when I can't think of something or can't justify something. I'm like, well, you know, if I bought it brand new, it had to be created brand new and go through all these processes. So that's kind of how I put it. When people give me non-vegan food, I can easily bring it to work to give to my coworkers. There's always people around me who aren't vegan. Those are the majority of people, honestly, in my life, so that is pretty easy in that aspect, and I'm sure everyone around me is very excited that they can receive these things. So this question I really wanted to touch on, so I'm super stoked to answer this. Hey Amanda, I love watching your videos and following you on social media. Sometimes I hate it because you're so pretty and I compare myself to everyone and hate that I will never be as cute as you. As much as this sounds like a call for attention, it's more of advice on how to stop. You mentioned suicide girls on today's Tattoo Talk Tuesday, and I hate them just as much. Haha, I grew up being bullied and called terrible things, and I don't know how to start a journey of confidence and self-love. Please send help. So I wanted to talk about this today because, and I'm gonna phrase it as like girl hate or whatever. I think it's really important to lift up the people in your community and lift up your peers and your influencers that you follow and stuff. And I think it's really difficult because a lot of us can take, you know, like this person said, like following me, and they can take it two ways. They can be like, fuck Amanda, you know, I hate following her because, you know, she is cute and whatever. And then other people can take it this way where they're like, I follow Amanda, she is cute, and I am going to take that positivity and bring it back to myself. Or I am going to uplift her and admire her in that aspect. So I think, you know, one is obviously toxic and a little easier to do, and then one I think has benefits. You know, in high school, I was really quick to hate literally everybody, and I think that all that negativity, you know, came off of me, and I think that it was very easy to see. And I think that that kind of attitude creates a barrier around you. Now, obviously, in online life, people aren't going to experience that barrier as much, but I think, you know, if you are open to positivity and you're open to uplifting your peers, I think that that positivity comes back to you. And I think, you know, the very first time that I admired somebody and told them, I think it felt really good. And, you know, I think Louis C.K. said it before. When you're mean to somebody online and you say, like, hey, fuck you, you're fat, whatever, that feeling of, like, regret or remorse or, like, understanding that you did something toxic isn't there, because Louis said, like, you aren't face to face with the person, so you don't see their expression when you talk shit on them. And I think online positivity has a little bit of a different effect. If someone you follow posts a picture and you're like, damn, they're so pretty, they're so cool, they're so clever, instead of just saying, like, fuck them, or, like, that's not an original idea, that's been done before, fuck them, I think it's so much better for you if you're like, that is clever, and you let them know. And that's kind of like the first little step of supporting and uplifting the people around you. And I feel like I went through this really hardcore at beauty school, like fucking boot camp, because I went into beauty school and it was my first time like completely saturated in an all-female industry. Everybody in my class and in my school when I went there was a woman, and you could go into it as a fucking hater, and I think it was really a lot easier to go that way and to go that route. And when everyone was introducing themselves, and some people are like, I have experience with hair, I'm just not licensed, I'm coming here to get my license, it's easy to be like, oh my god, I don't know anything about hair, and this is my first time touching another person's head, and this girl's gonna come in here with 5 years experience. When really, if you introduce yourself to that girl, then you create a bond with her, and she can either be like, fuck you, you don't know anything, or she can be like, hey, you know, other people were mean to me, and you reached out to me, and that created a connection between us. And I don't want to say it's like an alliance, but if you're nice to somebody, when they need somebody, they know who they can go to, because you were open and you were kind to them and you reached out to them. And maybe it was just to pay them a compliment, but what if in 3 days, you know, that girl with all the experience finds herself lost? She's gonna remember, like, hey, that girl was really nice to me on the first day. Maybe I can go to her or help her. And these are, obviously this is like making friends 101, but making strong connections with our peers or the women around us or anyone around us, like just being nice instead of being a hater, honestly makes those connections and makes us stronger as people. So in beauty school, you know, it was such an eye-opening experience, because I came from the punk house, you know, I came from a place where we constantly uplifted each other all the time, and we were constantly with each other all the time. And I think my roommate at the time definitely taught me, like, a lot about self-love and a lot about loving the women around you and the people around you and the protected groups around you. So I went into beauty school with those tools, but it was really easy for me to love everybody. And that's hard because I'm shy, but all that was me walking around and be like, I admire her and I love the work she did, and she deserves to know. And I know how good it feels when I'm paid a compliment, but I also feel really good paying other people compliments. And I don't feel good experiencing jealousy. Like, I'll experience, like, I don't know, fun jealousy, like silly jealousy. But if I see someone around me doing something awesome, I want to be influenced by it positively. And I think now that I'm an assistant at the salon, if I see a hairstylist do something awesome, I'm going to tell them, and I'm going to tell them that I love it. And I'm going to tell other hairstylists how much I loved it too. And I think where I kind of feel sensitivity is when you experience other people doing the opposite. You just have to keep going and remember who you are and what you're about. And if you're about uplifting other people, then stay true to that. And all the girls and all the influencers and all the people I follow online, I always try to reach out to. And it might seem nerdy or thirsty. I saw a comment that was like, I always see Quickens comments on these other people's posts. And it's like, yeah, because I'm never going to be too cool to tell somebody, like, love that lipstick. Or I love the way you do that. I love the composition of the photo. Because I do. And I haven't always been this way. Like in high school, like I said, I was a little fucking angry dark cloud. But I think people strayed away from that. And they expected me to be that way. And I don't want that expectation of myself. And I think it's so much easier and so much more fulfilling just to be nice. And, you know, if you see someone online that you're like, damn, like 10 out of 10, use that to influence yourself. And I'm not saying, like, view somebody and idolize them, but take something positive out of, you know, viewing somebody with jealousy. Take something positive out of that and be like, hey, this person wore this bomb outfit. You know, maybe tomorrow I should try something different. And maybe this person created this really cool piece of art. Maybe tomorrow I should think about what makes me creative and try to experiment with something like that. And that's what I do. I love following artists, and all the time I'm like, I'm a shit fucking artist. But if I watch Eva make all these screen prints all day, and I watch her like on Twitter or Instagram, it just inspires me to get behind my computer and make a video. So even if you're not good at the same things, just like experience someone's drive and use it. I just think that we as a community will be so much stronger if we all positively reinforce each other. And I think that that's best, because I could be, for example, jealous of other YouTubers, like, she has more subscribers than me, like, her videos, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to reach out to her. Fuck her. But I'm never going to be like that, because I want to uplift people and meet people and hear what they have to say. And you're never going to fucking do that if you're an asshole. And I don't want to be an asshole. At least not in that aspect. Because if somebody stopped me on the street and they were like, where'd you get those shoes? I would be like, yeah, fuck yeah, I bought these shoes because I like them and it's cool that someone else likes them. I'm not like, don't look at me. I don't know. That's how I feel. So I would just love to share that too. And I think in my industry, it just helps to have that big open heart and not to have that like crippling ego, because it's just going to shut you out. And for me, it's not worth it. I want to talk to people and I want to be heard, and that exchange is only going to happen if you do it without hate. So that's how I feel. On to the next one. I really wanted to cover that because it's not like the newest concept in my life, but it hasn't always existed. So I think, you know, if you practice it, if you practice kindness and practice like compliments, and you take away that like that jealous nature, things get so much easier. And I also think it's just so much better and easier to love one another, because I think that like that whole girl hate or like catty or women are competitive by nature, I've like seriously only ever heard men say that shit, so love to wash it away. Hi, I just got my first kind of visible tattoo the other day on my upper thigh, only visible when I wear shorts. And the first day of having it, I've already experienced some unwanted tattoo touching you've mentioned in past videos. I know I want more visible tattoos, but that was really an unpleasant experience for me. Do you have any tips on how to deal with this and maybe not let it affect future tattoo plans? So it's funny because on this channel and on other videos I've made, I've experienced some like negative feedback about what I'm about to say, and some people use language like, let's let the police go by. Say like, you decided to get tattooed, so you have what's coming to you, and LOL, she decided to get all these tattoos for attention, and now she doesn't like the attention. Like, who the fuck says this dumb shit? Oh my god. But those idiots aside, this is a real concept, and don't let people talk you out of it if you're literally experiencing it. If you are experiencing unwanted touches, you have to be vocal about it, because there is this weird crowd of people, like the comments I just expressed, who believe that either their touchings are acceptable because we get tattoos for attention, or that you're a baby if you experience unwanted touching. Our bodies, yes, we can call them canvases and we can call them works of art, but literally, unless I completely consent to touches, I am not consenting to touches. So, unwanted touches, you have to create a dialogue where you express to people that you don't want to be touched, and it has to be thoughtful and maybe not aggressive unless it has to be, because the better you get at this dialogue, the more you normalize it, and when you share it to other people, they understand. And it really sucks, you know, we didn't agree to become teachers, and we didn't volunteer to teach people to literally not touch us. They don't know that though, and unfortunately, but you know, I've kind of practiced the dialogue, and there are times I slip up. I mean, there are times where I wish I would have said more. Like, one time I was at my coffee shop and it was my lunch break, so I was at the coffee counter eating like oatmeal out of a paper cup, like as fast as I could, because I was very fatigued from working on my feet. And I remember a girl and her boyfriend came up to me, and I'm like pouring oatmeal, and I was like, ah. That was me literally turning into a pig, and a woman pulled my arm back to show it to her boyfriend. She's like, I love how this looks. I remember I turned around like, and that is the epitome of exactly how I fucking feel. Literally don't touch strangers. So, you know, play up on that. Be like, excuse me, I don't know you and you can't touch me. And I think that those like very matter-of-fact phrasings are the most impactful. Like, I'm sorry, I don't know you and you can't touch me. Or please do not touch my body. And I've told you all the times I was at these, like the kayak rental that I used to work at as a lifeguard, and people would ask to see my tattoos, and I would say that they were private, and this would get people really upset. But I'm not upset, and I'm going to keep saying stuff like that until 100 million more people know that tattoos are private and you literally cannot touch them. I mean, there was the critique like, oh, you're a lifeguard in your bathing suit, so people might touch you. And it's like, do you touch lifeguards unless they're literally saving you and you're grabbing onto their arms for dear life? Like, when did lifeguards become, well, I don't, Baywatch, I guess. But I've never seen Baywatch, so literally don't touch me. And like I said, I like to do these like really matter-of-fact kind of phrases and That's just what works for me. And unfortunately, you know, it has not discouraged me from continuing to get tattooed. There's this hope that I'll look tougher if I get all these tattoos, but then I feel like I have a baby face, so people are like, nah, I can grab her arm, that's fine. But it's not. And I'm going to snap back with some simple phrases that hopefully make you feel guilty and don't touch another tattooed person the rest of your fucking life. And that's my best advice. Unfortunately, like, a lot of this stuff can't be controlled. And when you're in the moment, sometimes that A+ phrase that you came up with in front of the mirror doesn't quite come out, and there's oatmeal all over your face, and all you can really do is give a dirty look. But if it works, it works. You know, if somebody comes back at you, really just ask, like, why did you think it was appropriate to touch a stranger? And if they hit you with that, well, you got tattooed, so I was just admiring your art. Am I not allowed to admire art? Then be like, I don't know. Pay the fucking toll to get into the museum then. Fuck you. I don't know. All these people. All these fucking people coming at me. And it's like, literally, don't touch me. Oh my god. I'm like 27 almost. Like, literally, don't touch me. Wow. So we're gonna end this N5 Hack Friday with this. And I thought this was a cool one. Hey Quicken, are you super religious? I remember when I started watching your vlogs during the Pope visit, I was like, oh yep, Quicken's gonna tour around the city showing us how messed up everything is about relocating people, shutting down streets, buildings, etc. just because this dude in a white robe wants to speak. But you were like generally really positive and happy about him visiting. And then recently you got that cross art. I was just curious. So if you're new to the channel or you haven't watched like my vlogs playlist or whatever, Pope Francis came to Philadelphia 2 years ago, and I vlogged like 5 days of like Philadelphia's complete shutdown while the Pope was here. It was kind of like complete security shutdown. They closed all the bridges. You could either stay in Philadelphia or leave Philadelphia, but if you left, you couldn't come back in. It was kind of like the craziest thing that's ever happened, like ever. My aunt had told me that when she was a baby, a Pope had come to Philadelphia, and it was like the most magical time in all of her relatives' lives. And I guess, you know, as the world grows, security grows, so now it was like a complete shutdown. And I decided to vlog as much as that as possible. You know, I was a little newer to YouTube at the time, still use this camera right here though. So I just tried my best to encapsulate everything that was happening day to day. And different things happened, like all of the public transportation shut down, people were having block parties, just drinking in the street, because what could you do? If you ended up in your neighborhood while the Pope was here, you were stuck in your neighborhood until the next day. The whole city was shut down, all the jobs were closed, my school was closed. It was literally crazy. So I was like, I have to capture this. And I tried to capture everything as like a civilian. And I tried to show you guys everything as like a person viewing everything as I naturally was. And when they closed down the highways, we snuck onto the highways. It was really cool, really surreal, kind of like apocalyptic, which is something I'm like really into. And absent from religion, I just tried to show Philadelphia's perspective. But at the same time, there are episodes where like I went to the church that the Pope was supposed to speak at. And although I never showed any actual footage of the Pope, I tried to show the effects of the Pope's visit as much as possible. And that was pretty calculated just because, you know, my mom is adopted and I don't really know my father's side. My father left, you know, when I was just a couple months old, but I was baptized Catholic, and that was important to his family. That I was, just because I think if you're not baptized and your baby dies, your baby goes to limbo, which is not heaven or hell. It's just in between, and the baby is just like stuck there forever. Like, help this baby. And although I don't have a ton of experience with my father's side of the family, I feel like I put them kind of on a pedestal because they are my actual, like, makeup. They're the same as me. And although, like, I can love my grandmom, I do feel at a loss because, you know, I don't look like her and I'm not Filipino, and I feel like that connection with my biological father, I don't really have much more understanding of that other than that they are Catholic. So, obviously, you know, I'm trying not to be a disrespectful person in any aspect. And when he came here, I felt like I had more of a grasp of what they see and what they would want to celebrate. So I did go to the Basilica downtown just to see like a real life like Catholic church. And it was powerful, only like because I don't know much about it. Other than that, like I just try to be respectful of the little bit I know about their culture, and I tried to dive right into it. And I wasn't treated like as an outsider, and there is a scene at the Basilica on the vlogs, woo, where the art students of Philadelphia created this like gazebo, and everybody put prayers like on a strip of paper and tied them to the little gazebo thing, so the Pope would come and read them or bless them or whatever, see them or be near them. And just reading these prayers, it was a really powerful experience, and not something I was here to be like, look at all these freaks. I wouldn't do that, and it was powerful to experience myself. I mean, I was there, so I don't know if like viewing it on YouTube, you may have been like, that's freaky, what are they doing with all that toilet paper or whatever. All the streets are literally shut the fuck down. There was a really big thing about like where all the homeless people were going to go. I did interview a homeless woman in one of the vlogs, so you can check that out if you wanted to hear her perspective. It was really cool. It was a true taste of like being like a little reporter or whatever, which is what I love to bring to this channel. So it was really awesome that it happened in Philadelphia, and I approached it without bias, and that's honestly the only approach I wanted to have. And that's what you may have experienced in that video. I'm not a religious person. I'm not here to talk down on anyone who's religious. For when I lived closer to my grandparents, we would go to church on Christmas Eve. We did that like every year, and I never had a problem with it. I like to sing at church. That's always really fun. I think hymns are pretty cool. It's like the only place to like sing chorus songs or whatever, and I'm totally into that. That was always really cool. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like I was bored there, but it was just like a little tradition thing that we did, and I wasn't opposed to it. I was just a kid who was bored because we were there. Like, is that any other kid? That was me. So I thought that was a pretty good question. I just wanted to share my perspective. I know it seems like there was a lot of wishy-washy positivity in this video, but I'm definitely not like a hateful person, and I definitely love to hear other people's experiences and understand other people's perspectives and live like they live in order to be better and have more perspective and live more positively through other people's experiences. But that's everything. Bronco pins are going to be on sale soon. I kind of put them on ice because I was hoping to sell them at the pop-up shop, and then some things happened with my studio space, so now I'm gonna have to have more Renegade pop-up shop, probably closer to April, kind of like the Quicken meetup, just because like I'm not the only one who works in that studio space, so that I just wanted to wash my hands of that. Zine, whatever. If you have commented on any of my social platforms about your pin not showing up, definitely email me or contact me through Big Cartel. I do see like 1 or 2 posts as early as yesterday about someone just getting their pin. So I'm just hoping, definitely email me and I will send a replacement pin your way ASAP. I have a stock of them just in case, so you're definitely covered. Don't worry about that. Please get in contact with me through an official platform and not through an Instagram comment, because that definitely kind of gets lost in translation sometimes. And I'm really sorry if anything has happened to your pin. I will quickly replace it ASAP. Please email me through a like more professional, like direct way.